Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans by wrestling fans on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. And we invite you to recline back your chairs to ease all of your cares as we bring to you our Friday night Smackdown review. And I gotta say, folks, for the most part, with TLC being a week from Sunday, I think Smackdown has the angles I care about more in this company overall, particularly the world title angle, which I am infatuated with. It laid the groundwork for some interesting stuff for next week's Smackdown, so I like how they're promoting in advance. That's something they need to do a lot more, especially with AEW as competition. More so with NXT than Smackdown or Raw, but I digress. And, honestly, I know the main event's going to be very divisive because of the heel involved, but I actually liked it, and I'm digging the program. It is something a bit different, and I enjoyed it. So on the whole, I think I'll give this SmackDown a thumbs up tonight. A couple weird moments here and there that we'll address. But, partner, how'd you feel about SmackDown tonight?
Before we move on to me, I'm curious what you would give it on a grade out of 1 to 10.
I'm thinking anywhere from a 6.5 to a 7. That's okay. Where I'm done.
So I'm pretty consistent with that because I'm usually about a half point below you, and I was thinking I was kind of hovering between a 6 and a 6.5. So that's fair.
That's fair because I don't want to make it seem like I hated it. Far from it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not
it wasn't an outright bad show, but it wasn't really a good show either, and there was some really weird decisions on this show.
Yeah, I do agree with that part. I will say, though, and I think why it gets a bit of a stronger grade for me, again, the world title feud particularly, dude, I am loving that feud. I am loving that feud. I'll be excited to talk about that today. But let's get into our first segment, Heat of the Night. And again, aside from a few odd moments, I wouldn't even call them nitpicks. I think I'm more or less good tonight. I guess if I had any nitpick, it'd be Sami Zayn and Big E, and I actually like the match. I just don't understand what they're going to do with Big E or how they're going to have him bounce back because he lost by countout tonight. And it wasn't even necessarily like Sami cheated to get the countout to me. He was more just clever than anything. So they're really not pushing Big E as strongly as I feel like they should. And again, I go back to the complaint of you separated him from his best friends in a really hot act, I might add. For what?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Do you feel that criticism is justified?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think it's one of those weird kind of situations where it feels like they separated them because they wanted to push Big E as a single star, but now they're pushing him as a single star in a position that he's already reached before. I know he's never actually held the Intercontinental title, but it's not like he's never been a mid-card champion. He held the U.S. title before. So it feels like they set him up in a situation where it made it seem like they were going to push him into the main event picture, but then instead of doing that, they just pushed him back up to the mid-card title scene, which is where it's a place he's already been before. So it just feels like they took something away from him under the premise of we're going to promote you, and then they never got around to actually promoting him.
Yeah, I think you said it better than I ever could. So I'm just going to hand the ball over to you now. Do you have any nitpicks or heats of the night?
Yeah, again, almost similar to SmackDown or almost similar to NXT in the sense that I just feel like they're giving a lot of screen time to all the wrong people. Already after maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks at most, I'm fucking over the Street Profits Rudolph feud. I'm fucking done with that shit already. It's garbage. And of course, because Ziggler won tonight, it's probably going to just keep dragging out, which annoys the hell out of me because I think it sucks. And then the fact that we're still getting Natalya on our television every week is beyond reproach.
Not going to touch on Natalya one because it's a documented fact how much she's loathed on this podcast, but I will say with Street Profits, Rudolph, I do agree Rudolph does nothing for me. We know they're getting a tag title shot next week. So that was one of the things promoted for next week. That and Bianca versus Bayley, which I'm hyped for. We'll get to that a bit later. But yeah, I agree with you. I really don't see anything in that. Do you have anything else that you want to address on your side of the table?
No, that was it. Really just the Street Profits Rudolph feud. And really, I blame that more on Rudolph than the Street Profits because you already know. I think the Street Profits are kind of annoying on the main roster. I was starting to like them in NXT when they were starting to kind of be a little more serious. in their feud with War Machine or War Raiders or Viking Raiders or whatever the fuck you want to call them. But since they've been called up to the main roster, I've really not liked them on the mic. I feel like they're way too extra, way too try-hard. But they aren't the problem with this feud, in my opinion. Ziggler and Rude are. And really Ziggler. I think Rude is actually perfectly passable. Ziggler is just so maximum cringe. It's painful to watch Dolph Ziggler try and cut a promo these days.
Again, I think you said it perfectly. Anything I would say would just belabor the point. So with that said, let's just get right into our Friday night Smackdown review. And we open up, Sasha Banks' music hits. We find out we're going to do a contract signing for her and Carmella for TLC. And already, like, again, I don't want to jump the gun, but they end up doing the title match tonight. And that was the main event tonight. And I thought the main event was solid, and we'll get more in-depth into that later. But I just don't like how almost convoluted this all felt. Because Sasha's, like, out in the ring, right? And she's flipping through it. She's like, are you kidding me, Pierce? Are you kidding me? Where's the contract? Because the document, the holder thing was, like, blank. Nothing in it. And then you hear Carmella laughing on the Tron. And she's like, oh, Sasha, you don't dictate the terms. I do. This isn't Tiger King. This is Queen's Gambit. And, she's Queen's Gambit. So,
dude, I'm so glad you caught that. All I heard was this is Queen's Gambit. I didn't hear what she said. It wasn't, though. So I'm really glad that you caught that. Because, yeah, that's actually really clever.
Yeah. And, I'll say off the bat, I've seen from social media, and particularly among black wrestling fans, they don't like that the sommelier that Carmella has is a black man, like, servicing a white woman. And look, I'll say that those criticisms should be valid and we should be open to them. I will say, though, putting that aside, I do like the idea, again, of female wrestlers having, like, male valets, managers, or just people of that type. So, again, the racialized component, I think, is valid and we should listen to it. But more generally speaking, I do like that that's a factor for more heel women's wrestlers, and I want that to be normalized. So I'm kind of making a separation there personally. And yeah, she tells Smiley, hey, could you deliver this contract to Sasha? I will say one thing I don't like, and I hope this doesn't make me sound horrible, because he delivers it to Sasha, because Carmella said she signed it. Then he delivers it to Sasha. Sasha stamps it with her boss thing, which I always love when she does that.
I missed that, man. I missed that. I feel like we haven't seen that in a hot minute.
But, I want it to be more normalized. If we're going to, and I guess it comes back to something that you and I have said on the podcast before, if they're going to do intergender stuff, I wish it could just be, like, equal across the board. And in a way, WWE has kind of teased that because it wasn't that long ago that Randy Orton RKO'd Beth Phoenix. But they're never going to fully commit to it, right? It's always going to be like a comedic thing or like, oh, look how badass Sasha is, doing this. So because she lays the guy out, she's like, oh, let me send you a message for what's going to happen tonight, because she says to Carmella, let me play a game with you. How far can I make Carmella's feet touch her spine or her neck touch her spine? How quickly can I make Carmella cry? Or how about we just do the title match tonight? And then Carmella's like, oh, okay, you want to do that? Fine, we'll do it tonight. And then Sasha to send a message to Carmella, lays out the sommelier, and just kind of dumps the table on him. Which, again, I like the intergender component. I just wish, like, again, if you're going to commit, really commit. Because, otherwise it just kind of makes me roll my eyes a little bit. Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, I like this. I like the presentation, I'll say, of the Carmella gimmick. Again, I know even for our audience in chat, it's hit and miss. For me, we've talked before, we've kind of come to Carmella's defense before on the show, how she's kind of an underrated in-ring worker. And I think it's more just how you present her, and I personally didn't think this was bad. I'm more curious, though, about your take. How did you feel about this segment?
Maybe a hot take. I think that you've kind of agreed with me on this somewhat before. I wasn't a fan of Sasha's promo here. Frankly, I'm not a fan of Carmella's promo here either, but I feel like it's more of a big deal for Sasha because I've always liked her as a talker, and she just has been so different with her promos since she turned face, and I just really have not been enjoying them. And this was consistent with that. I really just didn't think this was a very good promo. It's something about the way she talks. Like, she's adding all kinds of extra syllables to her words and shit. It drives me crazy, and not in a good way either. It's like pet peeve kind of stuff,
Right.
I did. I will say again, though, consistent with the current babyface Sasha Banks character. As soon as she stops talking and starts getting physical, it's fucking great because her matches are always great, and I felt like her literally manhandling this dude was actually really well done. I think that everything that she did against this dude looked believable, which is not easy to do when you're such a small woman going against like a regular sized dude. So yeah, it was believable. It looked good. I thought that the actual physicality of the segment kind of saved it because I thought that the talking for the most part wasn't good. But yeah, it's weird that they decided to have the match happen on the same night. And like again, this is almost the exact same situation as I want to say NXT on Wednesday, where it's like, oh, we're going to have the match tonight. And then you find out later on, like, oh, the only reason that they did the match tonight was because they already had it planned that it was going to go to a non-finish. So we're going to get it on this pay-per-view anyway. It's like they're going out of their way to make us think about, oh, this only happened because it was planned and it was written this way. Like it's taking us out of the product, you know?
Well, yeah, and again, the weird thing for me was, so you just agreed to do it tonight, so can we just nullify those contracts? Or, like, again, I feel like WWE just has this tendency to overcomplicate things that really shouldn't be complicated. But, we got there, we got to the destination, they're doing it tonight. That's
what
fine.
was that on what was that on NXT that annoyed me? I forget. There was something on NXT where it was like, it really made you think like, oh, the only reason they did this was because they had this certain thing written and planned this way.
Oh, Damian Priest, right? The call out and then the
yeah, exactly, yeah. So it's actually like a really similar situation to that, where it's like they're setting something up that doesn't make sense, and then the reason that it eventually makes sense is because of the finish, which we know ahead of time was already planned, and it's like, oh, it's like they're shoving the fact that the show is written in advance in our faces, and I hate that.
I can totally understand that criticism. Moving right along, we get a Street Profits promo because we know Ford's taking on Ziggler, and they get asked, like, Rudolph pretty much said that you're too funny to make money. How do you respond? And they pretty much said, if we wanted to be funny, I think Dawkins said something about like slapping Rude, and then a million roots pop out of his body, like he slapped him so hard a million roots fall out, and he's like, nah, fam, one root's about enough, and they just keep dissing Rudolph, and then they end with, because the profits are up, and we want the smoke. So again, it's. I feel like you were going to say something. Do you want to say something?
I almost have to, please stop me if I start to get out of line here. I almost have to wonder if it's because we've got these black superstars being written by a bunch of old white men.
Yeah, that's I think fair. I think when we talk about
I almost have to wonder if Sasha and the Street Profits and maybe even Big E would kind of get a little more control over their own promos if they'd be able to say what they want to say rather than having to recite what's given to them from these old ass white writers. If they would be better promos, because the Street Profits promos are not great to me. Like I said, I feel like they're really extra, over the top. I will say the whole Street Profit, or the whole profits up and we want the smoke thing, that's okay. Like, that's not bad. That's probably the best. That's probably the best thing that they said in the entire promo. But like, your catchphrase shouldn't just be okay. Your catchphrase should be something that everybody wants to say. I think that doesn't really have that right now.
Yeah, because I feel like the really top acts, the ones that want to go all the way, they are quotable. Smell what the Rock is cooking, because Stone Cold said so. It's true. List goes on. I think you make an interesting point there, because I think when we talk about diversity and representation and all these things that should be so much more than buzzwords, right? But actual concrete plans of action. Yeah. That's got to extend to the writers' room. I mean, it was a bigger story earlier this year, right? When the woman behind the Mandy Rose, Otis, Ziggler, Sonya Deville story, she got let go.
Yep.
And I think we noticed that the story took a considerable dip when she left the room.
Yep. And it practically dropped completely. Like, it took a matter of 3 months for that story to get completely thrown under the bus and forgotten about.
Exactly. And I think, again, you have to have that diversity of just worldviews and experiences to be able to write these kinds of stories well, rather than having characters that come from black or female or whatever backgrounds as one note, So I definitely think you have a worthwhile criticism there, for sure. So We get Ford versus Ziggler. Before that, we get a promo from Rudolph. Like you said, Ziggler's so cringe. He's trying to say, my stand-up comedy isn't funny, but the only thing less funny than my stand-up comedy is the Street Profits, and the only thing less funny than the Street Profits are the fact that you guys are the Smackdown Tag Team Champions. So they do a little thing. We get to the matchup. The truth of the matter is, the matchup itself wasn't bad. I thought these guys worked well together. I mean, Ford's athleticism playing off of Ziggler's, wrestling background. It's always going to be a good match in ring. I personally thought it was awkward and took me out of the match when they did the solo cut bit in the middle of it. And then the music started playing. That really threw me off when their theme music started playing. Because I'm like, well, wait a minute. Did the match just get thrown out?
Yeah, this is one of those things that just kind of was like, oh, what the hell's going on right now moment.
Exactly. Yeah, perfectly said. A WTF moment for sure. And then we get back to the action. And dude, it's the same plot device because, Ford's really looking like he's going to close in on a win because he gets a jumping kick on Ziggler, which Ziggler bumps well for. Ziggler, his in-ring stuff is always good at best. It's always serviceable, right? He goes to the top rope. It looks like he's going to do a ridiculous frog splash, which I love how they milk that because it is a thing of beauty what he does. And Rude takes out Dawkins. Ford gets distracted. Ziggler straddles him on the rope, gets the super kick, gets the pin. So I guess my two nitpicks about this that I didn't feel really warranted being in the first segment because I look at those as more like overarching complaints.
Yeah.
We again do beat a champion in an untitled match to establish contendership. So again, we've talked about for years how that just lacks imagination.
You know what though? I think in situations where they're not in like the type of match that they would normally defend their title in, I'm okay with it. Like a singles match between tag champs or a tag match involving singles champions, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's a fair retort, but I wish we could get some more inspired booking from time to time. Like I can't remember the last time we had a quality like tag team turmoil saying. I love when they do that.
I agree with you, but I also know that they can't do that every time. And like I understand, like you're right, we haven't done that in a while. They could have done that here, but I also like I'm not trying to excuse WWE's booking because it is shit.
Of course.
But like in this very instance, this just wasn't something that I was even thinking to complain about.
Oh, sure. And again, that's totally valid. That's totally fair. The other thing, is more of just a me thing. I just wish sometimes that a partner would keep focus in the ring, or just anybody for that matter, would keep focus in the ring and win the match anyway. Like, and then just be like, yo, sorry you got hurt, sorry you got jumped, but I got the win, so we don't have to defend the title against him. Isn't that great? Because,
nice.
Yeah, dude, like, I know it would seem like a heartless thing.
Dude, I'm telling I really think that there's an untapped market out there for just, like, a fucking logical wrestling company. Like, it doesn't have to be, like, next level fucking George R.R. Martin level writing, but just having characters that make decisions that make sense and that aren't, like, ridiculously over-emotional and make stupid decisions because of that and stuff like that. Like, there's a definite market for that that's being completely untapped right now. It's really bad.
I mean, dude, if I could just draw a parallel to a storyline we also got this year, it's very fresh. When you look at Asuka, Sasha, Bayley, and Kairi when she was in the company, see, I feel like they did that well because Bayley attacked Kairi all the way backstage, got it to show up on the Tron, and it was kind of implied that, well, if Asuka doesn't quit, I'm just going to keep beating up Kairi all the way over here. And Kairi's cry for help was just heartbreaking. But this, by comparison, Dawkins and Rude are right there. Dude, you can get the pin and then chase him off, and your friend is right there.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like Asuka, Bayley, Sasha, Kairi did it really well. And this, I'm just like, again, I know it could come off so easily as like, oh, John's just feeling himself and he wants to be an asshole. And admittedly, that's 2% of this. But the other 98% really is like, bruh, get the win. Get the win. Then you put these guys in the back. And Dawkins, he got hit in the steel steps. He's a professional wrestler for a living. He takes the bumps. You go to the trainer's room after, and you're happy.
Yeah, like that's literally the type of bump that people take in matches, like just regular ass matches all the time.
Like I know it's totally fair if anyone wanted to say like, okay, John, now you're just looking for a reason to complain because it really is a nitpick when stuff like this happens all the time, and it's a narrative device first and foremost. I'm just saying that it kind of makes me roll my eyes these days because I'm like, it ain't that deep, fam, But yeah. Ziggler gets the win. Do you have anything else you want to say about this?
No. I think you covered it pretty well. Just no clue. Like, I know that before the match, they even mentioned in the promo, you never know when we might just stop in the middle of a match to rain down solo cups. And they did that. And it's like they prefaced it and then they immediately did it. But that's like, how on the nose can you be, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Next up, we had Sami Zayn cutting a promo, complaining about management, talking about how he wants to stand for everybody that he represents, everybody from all the nations across the world because he's the Intercontinental Champion. And eventually Big E interrupts and we get our match.
Yeah, we do. I love these two together as personalities. And again, even in the ring, the match was not bad.
Right.
I mean, Sami sells so well. Big E's got the intensity. I like the new theme because I finally was able to hear it this week. I must have missed it last week. And yeah, like it was good stuff. Again, I don't understand what we're doing with E. I don't understand like where he goes from here. I think you could articulate it better than me, Ashton, because sometimes I grasp a lot for words, and I know sometimes you do too. But I mean, how did you feel about this?
Of the match? I barely paid attention to the match.
Oh, you barely paid attention. I mean, I just feel like it was Sami selling a lot. Big E really imposing his power. There was a great spot where like Sami was half in, half out of the ring because his body was like laying out on the apron, and Big E did his splash.
Yeah, I've noticed with WWE that unless there are like one of a few select performers in a match, they tend not to pay as much attention to the matches themselves other than pay-per-views.
Right. There was a cool spot where Sami actually mocked Big E's gyrations, and Big E, of course, made him pay for it. The ending comes. I really thought that Big E was going to get the big ending on Sami and like definitively pin him. Sami ends up breaking the eyes and going in the corner, and like Big E's trying to get a hold of him. Referee's like, hey. Sami slaps him. That incenses Big E. Then he chases Sami around. Sami goes under the ring. Then he goes through commentary, which Big E kind of gets stuck. Then he goes under the ring. Then Sami comes out on the other side of the ring. Big E grabs him. Sami's stomping away on his head, and Sami beats the count and he gets in. Sami's been winning a lot by count out lately, but he does count out victories so well. Part of me can't even be mad, but again, I circle back to, and I guess I'll take the bulk of this since you said you were kind of like half in, half out. What even is going on with Big E? Like, it's like we said in the first segment. How is he going to pin Sami next week? And if so, why couldn't he just do it tonight? Because TLC is a week from Sunday. I would have loved to have had this match on the card, and I'm guessing it might still be a late edition, but I just really want them, for the stars that just scream, like, I'm ready to be pushed, I'm ready to be tapped into my maximum potential, yeah. I want them to commit to that fully.
And just to let everyone know, we will be back next week. We will be actually reviewing both Raw and SmackDown next week, as voted by our Discord supporters, the patrons.
Yeah, there you go. So we will be covering that, which I'm excited about because, again, there are angles specifically on SmackDown that I am loving. But yeah, like, I don't want them to be so non-committal with these guys. Commit. Say that we got you and let the writing reflect that. But so yeah, solid matchup. I love both guys involved. Sami is a fantastic heel. But I just wish they would commit more to E, especially because, again, Sami is such a good heel. I'd like him to have strong challengers.
Yeah.
I think he deserves that just as much as he does, honestly.
Yeah.
So do you have anything you want to add to this?
No, I definitely think that Sami, this is one of those situations where both of these guys could benefit if it's written well, and they just have failed to write it well so far.
Yeah, exactly. So moving on from that, we get Bianca Belair and a Bayley segment. Bayley's kind of opening up, previewing the Carmella Sasha Banks match. She wants to wish good luck to Carmella because Sasha Banks may be the SmackDown Women's Champion, but it's still Bayley's division, and Sasha Banks is the most overpaid, overrated woman in history. And Bayley keeps talking shit about Sasha, but then she pivots to Bianca, and she says, I don't even think about Bianca, or unlike Bianca, who I don't even think about at all. And she starts talking crap about Bianca, mocks her ponytail and this and that. And Bianca's coming up behind her, and she's laughing and she's smiling. And she goes, girl, and she kind of lets Bayley know, like...
See, like, that right there, like, Montez could take a fucking hint right here, right? Because they're literally, they live in the same house. They're married to each other. Girl, is way better of a catchphrase than we want the smoke has ever been or will ever be.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, dude, how many times have I even said it on this fucking podcast?
I know. It's very quotable. It's repeatable, not even just in a wrestling context, but that's some shit that people could pick up and use in, like, fucking high school or some shit like that. Like, it's a real quotable thing. It's not just like, oh, haha, wrestling, girl, that's so funny, haha. No, it's like literally IRL. That's some shit that people say.
I loved the shirt Bianca was wearing in this because it said,
Dude, Bianca looked great here. I loved like the super bright blue lipstick too. It looked amazing.
Oh, dude, her aesthetic was on point. Again, I loved her shirt here because it said, "Thou shalt not try me."
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Is that like a shirt that you would have, like, anyone could buy, or is that like an official like WWE shop type shirt that's actually for Bianca, like part of her brand?
It might be a shirt anybody could buy. I know Bianca makes her own merch. I'm wondering if she even made that herself. I'm curious.
Because
I love that.
That's another quotable line, though.
Yeah, I'm telling you, dude. Once they really, I know we're still a little ways away, and I know we're going to officially preview it, but I'm still looking at Bianca as a favorite to win the Rumble in 2021.
We shall see.
Yeah, I'm really heating up on that. But yeah, Bianca dresses down Bayley, says, "You ain't even cute. Your hair's off," and just kind of, grills Bayley. And then I love this visual from Bianca. She says, "Do you want the receipts?" And she actually produces receipts and says, "Who beat the poet Natalia? Not you, me. Who was the last person on our team at Survivor Series when our captain, you, was the first one eliminated? Me. Who's the strongest? Me. Who's the roughest? Me." And then Bayley's like, "All right, I'm out of here." But I love that Bianca had like a visual of actual receipts.
And I loved her attitude too when she was just like, "Okay, you want me to message them to you? I can email." So cool.
Yeah, I really think, dude, like it's moments like this that I understand why it's been heartbreak's too strong. I guess I'll just say desire simply. It's been a desire from you in the past on this podcast, like when you say, "Oh man, I wish she would have gotten like a year or however much time in Stardom," because she really does get the character aspect of wrestling, I think, to a T. From the quotableness to the aesthetic to the presentation, and the in-ring isn't even bad. We're just saying
she is an absolute the thing is, I can't call her a prodigy because she is like a little on the older side for someone that's so new to wrestling. But like in the sense that like she picked it up instantly. She's a natural. That's what it is. She's a natural. She's just so good at the entertainment aspect of wrestling. If she was an actual if she was really good at it, if she was able to just kind of get the way that she gets the entertainment side, if she could also just kind of get like the in-ring psychology side of wrestling, she'd be in the running for the best woman wrestler in the world right now.
Oh my God, yeah. Absolutely. She is just so good. I really can't wait for her versus Bayley next week. It's a feud that I've been enjoying. Really, I feel like if WWE ever really wanted to promote their women, that'd be just a solid women's match at a WrestleMania without a championship involved. But they're doing it next week on SmackDown, so I'm here for it. Next segment, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I missed the beginning of this. It was just Carmella getting a promo, hyping up her title match with Sasha. She had this ending line. I forget which name came first. But she said that Sasha Banks, when I'm done with Sasha Banks, it's going to be like, I think she said Mariah Carey and J-Lo, and one of them says to the other, "Who are you?" So more or less implying like they're going to say to Sasha Banks, "Who are you?" after Carmella beats her for the Women's Championship. Do you have anything you want to say about Carmella's promo? Because again, I was kind of tuned out.
I didn't notice either. I didn't catch it.
Then we get to my favorite fucking angle in the company right now.
Roman and Kevin.
Oh, Roman, Kevin, and God, we need a better term because we know the origin came from fucking pigs. Abuse Jey Uso. I can't really think of it. Because they're recapping Roman laying out Kevin Owens and Jey Uso last week, which was a masterful segment. And I love the little touch where when he initially hits Jey with the chair, Jey's instinct is to ask Roman, "What did I do?" Like, it's so dark, but it's so good. And dude, can I just say too, because I've wanted to say this on the podcast, Paul Heyman, I fear for that man, bro. Because, like, when Roman goes off, Heyman's, like, covering his mouth. He looks horrified, dude. Like, do you know what I want? And I know it's never going to happen, but you know what I really fucking want?
What?
I want, and this is the only time I'm ever going to say this unironically, I want Brock to come back, and I want him to want to pick a fight with Roman because he's, like, jealous that, like, Heyman's been, like, giving all this time and energy to Roman rather than booking Lesnar's fights, making Lesnar money. And Heyman goes to him and tells him not to do this. Like, I want Heyman to say to Brock for the first time, "No, bruh, you got beaten 5 minutes. Bad idea. You got beaten 5 minutes by Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania last year. In this context, if it was like relatively like say early in 2021, like you don't want this, dude. I've seen what this man does.
I imagine Brock would just be like, I've got Roman's number. That guy's only ever beaten me one time. I've beaten him like, what, 7 times or something like that? I'm fine. And then he could be like, yeah, you had Roman's number, but he's different now.
Yeah, he changed it and then he called me with it. And now, like, you don't even know. I'd love that. Because he seems so genuinely horrified of Roman Reigns, and I love that beat. It really goes back to, and I have to give WWE credit here for continuity, if you even want to call it that. I would use that term very loosely. The very first night they appeared together, right? Like, not just the shocker of, like, oh my God, they're together, but, like, in the ring, where Heyman says to everybody, I didn't corrupt Roman. Roman corrupted me. And you see that continue because he's watching Roman from afar like, oh my God. And, like, his facial expressions when he's looking at Roman, he's like, are you going to handle that? But he doesn't dare say it because he knows if he does, he gets his ass beat.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, guys. Like I said, this is my favorite angle, so of course I'm going to gush about this one the most. So then we cut back to real time, and Jey Uso comes in almost like a sad puppy. He's like, oh, you good, Us? You good, Us? And Roman's just like, yeah, I'm good. I'm great. I'm the Universal Champion. I'm head of the table. You good? Yeah, I'm good, Us. It's good. It's good. It's good that everybody's good. It's good that everybody knows their place. And, like, it's just such big dick. Like, Roman's the type between... I don't even know why I'm so drunk on my own delirium right now. Roman really is the type between, yeah, I could touch my own face with my dick. Like, he's just so feeling himself about everything. I love it. I love it. So he's just watching the monitor. Jey Uso's got his hands in his pockets, all like, oh God, I don't want to speak out of turn. He's going to beat me again. And Heyman's just like, I don't know how I got so deep into this shit, but the money's good, so I don't want to leave. And then Kevin Owens' music hits, and he's walking with a fucking purpose, and God, on fucking God, does it feel good to be emotionally invested in Kevin Owens again.
Yeah.
God damn.
It's been too long.
Dude, obviously,
Last time we were this into Kevin Owens is when he was trying to get Shane McMahon kicked off of Smackdown.
Exactly. Oh my God. So here's the thing. Everybody knows when it comes to Kevin, I'm just going to assume the position and suck this man's dick. So just to pump the brakes for just a second, how did you feel about Kevin's promo here? I want you to talk about it first.
I think I agree with you that this is the most compelling thing going on SmackDown right now. It really comes down to me at least, to either this or Bianca Bailey. Like, those are the two sort of most prominent storylines on SmackDown right now, and I'm really enjoying both of them. But I think this one edges Bianca Bailey out by a bit, just because it's like Kevin, like you said, Kevin is one of those guys that, like, we always want to root for, and we just look for a reason, and they're giving us plenty of reason now. And Roman is just so brilliant in this role. Like, it's kind of silly to kind of have this, like, air of arrogance of, like, oh, the fans are always right. What we want should just happen. But in this case, that is absolutely true. The WWE should have let Roman turn heel a hell of a lot sooner than they did. But the fact that they waited so long to do it means he has that much more material to work with now that he is. And he's killing it. And he's brilliant. And this storyline with Jey Uso is great. The way that he is kind of playing this, like, scared puppy, like they don't want to step out of line because they're afraid their owner will grab the fucking rolled up newspaper again, like a little chihuahua afraid of it. And yeah, he, like, looks to Roman and he's just like, can I get him? And Roman's just like, you know where he is.
Yeah, man. It works so well on because here's the thing. What if you and I mean, even long before we got back to doing reviews, which, man, it feels good to be back in reviews for reasons just like this. And we said, like,
Owens' promo here was great too, talking about how he's not afraid of him no matter, like, how great he is right now and how high horse, or how, he's the whole head of the table thing. It doesn't matter. He does not fear him. That was such a great line.
And dude, I want to be very careful with actually, wait, I was saying something before and there was, yeah. So then I'm going to tie these two things together. We have been saying for the longest time that Kevin Owens has been underutilized as a babyface.
Yeah.
Like, that they've got an amazing babyface here. And he's doing fucking Raw Underground with Aleister Black. Like, and where the fuck has Aleister Black been? Quick side note, but I digress.
Oh, Vince gave up on him.
Well, yeah, of course. But it's like, you have this mega babyface just waiting to happen, and you're not using it. And then you get an angle like this. And the only reason I'm going this hard to bat for Kevin Owens is because I know a lot of people, and rightfully so, are going to give Roman a lot of the credit for this. But it takes two to really make a feud compelling, and I feel like Kevin has more than pulled his weight here. And I'll say, too, I felt like this was, and again, this is the part where I said I wanted to be careful with my words here. This was a perfect promo. Now, notice, I didn't say it was the best promo I've ever heard. I just said it was a perfect promo in the sense of, what does Kevin do here? He promotes the match at TLC. He puts Roman over big time. He says straight up, you've never been better than what you are right now. Like, he gives Roman all the props that he could possibly give him. But he doesn't make himself look like a bitch. He says, like, all of that is true. You're better than you've ever been. You're the Universal Champion. But I'm not afraid of you. And I fight for my family. And dude, that's it. That's a fucking promo. You put over the heel or the babyface if you're the heel talking. You put over the event. But then, guess what? You can puff your chest out without making your opposition look like a bitch. It's entirely possible. Kevin Owens just showed it. And I love, too, how he pivots. And he says, like, you know, you're using your family. You say you're fighting for your family. If anybody can relate to that, that's me. And that's true because even from his earliest days in NXT, he would always say, like, he would justify his behavior of, I did it for my family. I'm doing it for my family. Which, you know, Roman is very similar right now. Except the only difference is, even back then, Kevin always did it on his own because his family isn't a part of the industry, a point that he explicitly states in this promo. But he's got friends that are going to help him. And at first, like my stupid ass, I'm like, oh, does he actually have people that'll help him neutralize Jey Uso? Like we know Daniel Bryan has been a victim of this. Are they going to get that? No, he was actually kind of anthropomorphizing the objects around him because he had stacked the ring before he even cut the promo with tables, a table, a ladder, and like 2 chairs. And then he goes through. You know, he says, you know, the chair is like cold. It's unforgiving, but it's going to be amazing to hit you for every time you hit me with a steel chair last week at TLC. Table's tough. You know, table's tough to break, but when it does, it's so welcoming and invites you in. And then he says, ladder is my favorite friend of all because ladder, see, it can break you, it can harm you, it can maim you, but it's also going to help me get back to where I belong because, Roman, you can keep the table because at TLC, I'm going to get back to where I belong, back to the top, back to being Universal Champion again. And I loved it. Yeah. I loved it. Oh, my God, dude. I tweeted that this is wrestling that's so simple and so straightforward. You have a clearly defined, amazing heel. Because Roman had an incredible night tonight. Because we're not even done covering this storyline. Because they did a lot of great stuff too, which we'll get to in a few moments. You have a great heel in Roman Reigns that's flexing. And that's so credible. Not just because of his past with the company, but even if you look at the body of work just now. Like, if you only cut off everything else and only took Roman as a heel right now, he'd still be big shit. Undoubtedly. You have a likable, fighting from the ground up babyface because he's got to deal with a dynasty in wrestling. And he's got to deal with, you know, supporting his own family. Realizing, I mean, if he really wanted to be meta with it, this is the first time in the longest time he's really felt hot. He's really felt relevant. And opportunities at the Universal title don't come every day. He's got to win this one. Because...
No, they really don't come often at all. That's probably the most protected title in this entire company.
Yeah. Yeah, and because of that fact, bro, kayfabe-wise, if you're Kevin Owens, you're thinking to yourself, I have to win. Roman Reigns doesn't want to get back in the ring with me on a regular basis. This is it. I got to make this count. And you put all that together, and when you get fans like us that have wanted Kevin to do something, that are so happy that Roman has challengers of this caliber to pad out his reign, oh my God, it's all so good. And while Kevin's on the ladder, he doesn't even really finish the promo because Jey Uso hits him with a chair, you know, hits him repeatedly. And he even, specifically, because this could play a role next Sunday, we'll see, he targets the knee. He targets so that it'll be hard for Kevin to ambulate and climb up a ladder. And he's looking like he wants to do an Uso splash to Owens to the table because he sets him up on one. Kevin, though, pulls him down off the rope. He hits him with the chair in the back, a feeling that Jey Uso should be incredibly used to at this point. And then he more or less pop-up powerbombs him through the table. And then Roman's music hits. Kevin's barely standing on one leg because I think he even collapses after the powerbomb, but he gets back up. So again, he's selling it masterfully. God, it's amazing when people sell. I could think of a few people that should take notes. Roman comes out. Heyman's out there with him. It looks like, oh, are we finally gonna do it? Because Kevin and I love too, because it worked me. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. It has been working me so hard. Kevin has wanted to get his hands on Roman so bad, but at every opportunity, Roman has dictated the terms. Because Roman has either denied him the opportunity or Roman has struck first. We got a mixture of both tonight, as we'll get to. And it looks like he's about to engage. And Heyman's like, are you going to let him do that? You're the shot caller. You're the head of the table. You're the tribal chief. And, so Heyman's more or less trying to talk Roman down, maybe even fearing that Roman was going to do something. Like, don't play into his hands. You hold all the cards. He plays into your hands. So Roman walks out. Kevin, understanding that the ring isn't like some invisible barrier, actually gives chase to Roman.
Yes.
Then, I loved everything that happened here. Oh my God. Kevin goes to the back. He's like, where are you? And then, he's ready to fucking go, right? And then Kayla fucking stops Kevin. She tries to get a word, which, I mean, look, Kayla, I love your dogginess as a journalist, but now's not the fucking time, okay? And
now is exactly the time, John.
Well, if you're Roman Reigns, absolutely, which we'll get to in a second. But Kevin even says, did you hear what he said about my family? You think I wanted to do that to Jey Uso? I didn't, because I get it. But no, that's on Roman Reigns. And he continues to say something else, and then Roman Reigns attacks. So again, he gets the upper hand. And this is what I mean when I'm saying I've been getting worked, because I've wanted so badly just to see Roman Reigns get stunned one time. Guess what, kids? That's getting worked. This program is working on me. And given how disillusioned I've been with wrestling for, I would need like 5 sets of hands to properly count it. It's a good fucking feeling.
Yeah.
And then Roman turns to the camera after he lays Kevin Owens out, and he directly talks to Kevin Owens' family. And he says, we haven't been properly introduced. I'm Roman Reigns. I'm the head of the table. And he more or less talks about like how Kevin has just been out of his mind. And then he tells Kevin Owens' children, he says, if you don't talk some sense into your daddy, I'm going to be the one that takes the food off of the table. And then he kicks him in the head and he fucking leaves. Dude, like, so good, man. It's like, look straight at those goddamn kids, man. And it was like, you better sort your father out.
Do you know what
this
almost reminded me of?
What's that?
Samoa Joe's promos on AJ.
Yes, dude. Yes. But in a way, though, dude, and I can't believe I'm saying this because Joe's a promo god, I almost preferred this. Because, like, Joe, because of his look and everything, he gets away with intensity and screaming, right? But the idea that Roman can smile about it almost seem, and I know this is a weird word, but, like, almost seems suave and seductive about it. Yeah. Like, always looking good, right? Even when I'm beating the shit out of somebody. I think I actually preferred this. Because, like, he doesn't really lose his cool. It's almost like he's delivering a PSA. Hi, I'm the head of the table. You might remember me from such classics as I beat the shit out of my cousin and give him PTSD. Like, okay. He's really feeling himself right now. I want Kevin to snap on this dude. I want Kevin, even if he has to hobble on one leg, to, like, send Roman scurrying and to hold that Universal title high above his head, because we all know he's not winning the feud, unfortunately. But, like, I'm getting worked so hard. I want Kevin to just get a little taste. I want Kevin to just show Roman just a little bit of what he's in for at TLC, because Roman is such a masterful goddamn heel. I think I said a little while back, dude, I even forget when I said this at. It might have been Hell in a Cell. This dude is fucking sprinting for WWE Superstar of the Year, and he damn sure is fucking sprinting for Heel of the Year. Yeah. I have been loving his fucking work, dude. I feel like I've been talking a lot because, again, this is my favorite storyline in the company. I could not wait to gush about this tonight. Do you have anything you want to add, man, about Roman, Kevin, anything, man? Anything?
Before I even address that, I just want to say I've seen now 2 different people, one being just Alex, put a video up about this, and now Javaris in chat saying that they think that there's a chance that Roman Reigns' opponent at TLC won't be Kevin Owens, it'll be Kevin Steen. I just have to shut that shit down right the fuck now. It's never going to happen. Y'all are getting your hopes up for no goddamn reason. Please, please don't raise your expectations to that level. It's never going to happen.
How quickly we forget Asuka and Sasha Banks when we all wanted the return of Kana after what Sasha did to Kyrie. Sasha and Bayley both really did to Kyrie.
Bringing it full circle, I said the same thing then. Don't get your hopes up. It's not going to happen, and it didn't happen. Don't get your hopes up this time either.
Yeah, I really have to stand by it this time, absolutely.
As great as it would be, as goosebump-inducing as it would be, if Owens would hop on the mic and say, "Time for you to stop calling me Kevin Owens. My name is Kevin Steen, and my family is more important to me than anything," and we get a fucking package pile driver, it'd be amazing, but it's never going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, God, if that would happen, that'd be segment of the year, hands down for me, this close to it, because we are doing our year-end awards and Q&A on December 31st. But, yeah, like, I don't think that's going to happen. But you know what, though, at the same time, I've got to say, and I know Javara's, like, credited, like, the mentality of Steen. However you want to qualify it, we don't need Kevin Steen, though. Like, Kevin Owens is good enough to do this. He just needs to, like, not give a fuck. I just need him to give Roman a taste. A few chair shots, maybe a stunner, and then just, save the rest for Sunday. Because, I do want him to really look like a threat to Roman's title beyond beating up Jey Uso, because you're not facing Jey Uso for the title.
Yeah.
You're facing Roman Reigns. But I did say I wanted to ask, I know you wanted to address that first and foremost, but now keeping it actually on the content. Yeah. Do you have anything you want to say about this?
I mean, I don't really have much to add. You pretty much covered it, but this was really, really, really well done. Roman is in another fucking zone right now. He's on another level right now. He is definitely producing some of the best stuff that anyone has done in WWE in a long time, and I look forward to seeing what he does pretty much every week. So that's about all that I wanted to add. It's not really even adding anything. It's just kind of doubling down on what you already said. It was great, and then we move on to something that was a little less great.
Yeah, Riot Squad versus Billie Kay and Natalya. If I really wanted to, like put more thought in like the first segment of like just nitpicks, because there's no use getting like super angry about stuff like this. Why break up Billie and Peyton if you were just going to put Billie in a tag team? And it seems like they're going to do the same with Peyton, maybe with Lacey Evans. Like, I really hate to. Like,
remember when we heard that they were planning on pushing Peyton Royce as a single star?
Yeah, which at times you could still readily believe, right? Because she eliminated Bayley at Survivor Series. But then they do the whole segment with Lacey Evans being like, oh, you lost for the team, and then trying to weirdly butter her up in her own, I guess, unique way, and try and get in a tag team with her. It's like, why split these two up when they were so good together? And that, like, this company just hates friendship, man. It hates friendship and it hates people caring about each other. I'm convinced. Because Billie Kay shouldn't be in a tag team. She was already in a tag team that you split up. So what the fuck? And I know that these two aren't going to be a team because Natalya didn't seem pleased about losing. But even so,
Yeah, you know what though? Fuck Natalya. You do better, Billie. You really do.
Yeah, she really does. And unfortunately, she ate the pin here because for whatever reason, they just want to protect Natalya or whatever. So yeah, I didn't care for this. I only really cared for it, honestly, because I would like to think that this does get slowly fucking Ruby and Liv back in the women's tag title picture. Because I do want to see them become tag team champions, but I don't know.
God, I agree. That would be really cool if they were to win the tag titles. I think I'm just officially at the point that I've given up on hope on that. Because, it felt like they were kind of white hot to be able to make that happen, 3 months ago before the draft, and then everything got changed, and now it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, I am inclined to agree with you, man. It sucks because I really want that tag title win for them.
It's a sad state of affairs when fucking Lana is infinitely closer to the women's tag titles than Ruby and Liv.
Yeah, God, I don't like Raw very much. But yeah, Riot Squad get the win. After that, we get
I don't know many people who do, cowboy.
Yeah, there you go. And again, I could be nitpicky about this, just because, again, I was kind of Chad Gable and Otis are still doing their stuff. Now, I like that Chad's getting TV time, so I want to look at the solo line, right?
This is one of those things that's just like, oh, this is interesting. I wonder if it'll go anywhere, because, it seems like it could potentially go to really, really good places. It could be really, really fun, but it's WWE, so let's, it probably won't.
And I think that's why, dude, like, I get flustered anyway, because, like, I'd love to look at, like, okay, well, at least they're doing something, maybe it'll go somewhere, but I think you're 100%
I forget,
right.
is Otis also an Olympian at powerlifting or something like that?
I don't know if he's an Olympian, because I think Tucker wasn't an Olympian either, though. I think he was just more of a collegiate
Tucker
wrestler.
isn't. I wasn't sure, because, like, when they first brought Otis in as Otis Dozovic, I was, like, wondering if he was, like, from another country or something, and then he was like, we won like something in the Olympics from like some like Eastern European country or something like that, but that's probably just like a weird last name that he picked.
Yeah, but why I didn't like this in part, and I know, see, this is where, okay, so we know that Chad and Otis have been kind of a thing, so I can't blame WWE for that, because this is an established thing, and they showed an Instagram video of Chad trying to train with Otis being like blindfolded and stuff. But the character Otis specifically, I know he's got that endearing quality of like, oh, he's got a big stomach but a bigger heart, and it seems like, you know, he's, I don't know if you want to say naive or a duve or, you know, whatever kind of term you want to use. But the Otis character, I'm not saying it looks bad here, but you've been getting fucked with by the Samoan dynasty for like the past. I want to say, like, was it last week that he got attacked both by Jay? Actually, no, it was that was the week before. 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
a week before he got attacked by Jey Uso, and then last week he got attacked by Roman Reigns. And you're palling around with Chad Gable training rather than wanting a piece of the Samoan dynasty or the bloodline or whatever you
I was just under the impression that that's why he was training at all.
But he doesn't even mention it. Chad Gable doesn't mention it. Otis doesn't mention it. Nobody mentions it. So, like, I can understand why you'd say that, dude, but unless they say it, it doesn't matter what we say.
Yeah. We really, exactly. I completely agree. We really should not be fishing for deeper meanings than are what presented to us on the TV. We should just take what's given to us and accept that. And if it's not implicit or explicitly given to us, we shouldn't just pretend like it's a real thing. I get myself in trouble doing that a lot.
Yeah, brother, same. And, you know, I'm tired of doing WWE's work for them.
Exactly.
You know, again, like, I want to differentiate this, because I know I was pushing hard on the podcast for Otis versus Roman for Rumble, and I still think it could be a great match given those beatdowns. It's obvious they're not going to do that, right? So I want to make that crystal clear. Dude, if they're busy fucking around with Chad Gable and the stuff that happened tonight, I highly doubt it. Personally,
you don't think that there's a chance that we could get Otis versus Roman with Gable and Jey Uso on the outside as seconds?
I mean, at this point, I'd give it a 2% chance, because I don't ever feel comfortable.
Dude, you know what? That's fair. That's fair. I'm glad that you gave that number, though, because I do think that there's a chance, but I agree that it's not a very high chance. I would maybe say 5 to 10%, but I think 2% is a perfectly fair estimate.
Yeah, I think right now, just with the way WWE thinks, I think it's incredibly slim, brother. But
so,
I never,
assuming Roman retains then at TLC, which again could change between now and then, who do you think the more likely Rumble opponent would be for Roman?
I'm immediately thinking Bryan right now. I think Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns for Rumble.
God, that would be fucking glorious.
It will be fucking glorious. Cause I feel like they only had that one-on-one match like years ago for Roman.
Yeah, the one where like Bryan was supposed to just put Roman over and be like, "Wow, Roman, I guess that you're the leader of the Yes Movement now." That whole phase where they were just having all the top baby faces put over Roman to try and get him over, and it never worked.
Yeah. God, isn't it just so much better when they just embrace it? Just embrace, like, hey, Roman, you're really good at this. Let's keep doing this.
Or even better, hey, Roman, people really don't like you. Let's lean into it.
But yeah, exactly. So yeah, I just wanted to make that nitpick about Otis, because, like, dude, you've been attacked for the past 2 weeks, and you're just palling around with Chad Gable. Like, I don't care how absent-minded, I guess we'll say, your character's supposed to be. Like, register it, dude. I still don't like, and maybe they're waiting for it for Survivor Series 2021. They never really got to come up on Tucker either. They've really done Otis dirty this year. Like, it really seemed like it was going to be a good year.
Dude, how ironic, too, because this is the same year that they put the fucking Money in the Bank briefcase on him. They were just like, oh, haha, just kidding.
And you know what, though, dude? You and I should have known, because he won it by such a fluky means anyway, because it slipped out of AJ's hands. Like, we should have known. But
as soon as he won it, I think that you and I were both speculating, like, oh, is he going to waste the briefcase on trying to get a tag title match?
Yeah.
Like, we kind of instinctively knew that he was going to put the title or let the title go to, or the briefcase go to waste. We just didn't really quite know how. Yeah.
In hindsight, him actually trying to get a tag title shot out of it, and maybe him and Tucker winning, would have been better than what they ended up doing. By, like, a lot.
It's so sad.
So yeah, then Gable's talking about how he's going to take this lump of clay, no offense, and make a Michelangelo's David out of it. And Otis like, yeah, Michelangelo.
And then Otis called him Michelangelo.
Yeah, Michelangelo, great guy. And then Otis kind of hyping himself up, and I know of this guy who's rather small, no offense, can do with all this beef. So
I love their dynamic, I will say. Even if we aren't super happy about the fact that they're both really, really, really like being booked as lower than they should be, I do like the dynamic here for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's I think those are the angles that frustrate me the most when you have all the right elements because you have people that I like in it. I just don't like how it's presented, and then I look like the bad guy, right? Because it's like, oh, wrestling fans will complain about anything, but I'm like, no, the elements are only one part. There's more to it. And they have a tag match against Cesaro and Nakamura. Cesaro and Nakamura come into the segment. I honestly forget the trash talk that they had here, but it's just basic stuff to get to the match.
I was going to say that the trash talk isn't really that important, is it?
Nah, exactly. Then we get Gable and Otis versus Zara and Nakamura. How'd you feel about this match, man?
It was okay. It didn't really stand out all that much to me. There wasn't anything in it that really caught my eye or anything. It was just the type of match that you'd expect on an episode of TV.
Yeah, I mean the formative moment in the matchup that kind of dovetails into the segment after the fact. Otis has Cesaro on the ropes. Well, actually, he has him in the corner. If we're going to be really literal about it, he's about to go over the Caterpillar, and Gable's like, "Oh, tag me!" And Otis is confused, like, I was about to do my finish, but okay. And he tags him. Gable goes to the top. Cesaro catches him in a beautiful swing. Oh, man, it looks so good. And he dizzies Gable.
That's one thing. It was nice to see the return of the big swing tonight.
Oh, yeah. And Gable being a guy of his stature, no offense. It was great to see him sell that.
I don't think it's offensive when it's said by a fellow short king.
There you go. Game recognized game. That's right. Then Nakamura gets tagged in, hits the Kinshasa, and gets the pin. So Zara and Nakamura win, which I'm actually happy with this decision. This makes logical sense. I mean, these guys are former tag team champions. They've been together a lot longer than this team. I actually prefer this over. Oh my God! You mean the two people that came together on night one are tag champions? What? Like, this at least makes sense. So I at least want to be consistent on my end. I'm just gonna breeze right through and just kind of tie this follow-up segment because then we see him backstage and Gable's like, "See, you had the match won. When I was asking you to tag me in, I was wanting you not to do it. I wanted to see what you would do, and unfortunately, you failed." Like, Chad's actually, I gotta give him credit. Again, there are things I'm not happy about with this.
You gotta love that distraction training. That's the real stuff.
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely.
No one does that anymore. That's how you know that's what makes Alpha Academy the greatest.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Now that's an academy that's worth all the student loan debt. Yeah. I got to give Chad credit, man. Whatever nitpicks I have with this angle, he's such a douche. And, like, he's so good in the ring. But, like, his smarmy face when he's like, see, when I wanted you to tag me in, I didn't actually want you to tag me in. And you failed. And it's like, but dude, you ate the pin. And he's like, nope, your fault. But we'll work on it, all right? Listen, hydrate, because you know Gable just trolls the Hydra Homie subreddit. And then he's like, I'll talk to you about it later. And Otis is just confused, just looking, just having an expression of, where's my push? So that was pretty much that segment. I agree, Foster. I would pop for a Jason Jordan cameo in Alpha Academy. I would fucking love that shit.
Yes.
And then we get Corbin with his Knights of the Lone Wolf.
God, wait, are they really getting called that? Oh, no.
Yeah, that's how Corbin referred to them. He said, these are the Knights of the Lone Wolf. And he says they've pledged their undying loyalty to me. And so he says Rey Mysterio could bring his whole family, including his redheaded stepchild, Murphy. And yeah, it's Corbin, baby. It's Corbin. He's feeling himself. You know what, though? I'm just going to get ahead of this. Corbin may be another one like Johnny Gargano, albeit in a very different way, that might be circling back around for me. If they have Corbin stay in his lane, I might actually vibe with this. Because, dude, I know you'll actually know what I'm talking about. Because I know it wasn't that long ago that you thought that, like, not necessarily that Corbin was a great promo, but that he had funny moments in his promos.
Dude, no, yeah. Corbin definitely has his own brand of humor that you have to get before you can actually appreciate it. And I think I've kind of gotten it for a while now, and it sounds like you're starting to come around.
Dude, yes, because like I remember when you were dying that one Raw many moons ago when Elias was babyface, and Corbin was like, "Dude, he almost hit me with that guitar," and you were just dying. And yeah, I'm kind of feeling it with this when he referred when it just the smug way, like what I prefer to call the phallic smugness of Corbin. Just being like, oh yeah, and Ray could bring his redheaded stepchild Murphy. And like, you know what I love about Corbin? I almost wonder if he's shooting on us. Because you'll see on Twitter, he'll brag about his Rolex watches and stuff. He always seems so proud of himself when he cuts what he perceives to be a good promo.
Dude, I swear though, like that's the thing. I think Corbin is just the perfect WWE superstar. Because like, he would never be able to cut a good promo on his own. He's really bad at improv, and we know that because he's so bad on Twitter. But like, the way that he delivers these goddamn scripted lines, that to me is proof positive that not all wrestlers are better off writing their own promos, because Corbin is absolutely at his best when he gets like witty quips written for him and he's just able to deliver them in the silliest way.
Dude, yes. Like, it really is a shame, dude, that he is like a proven anti-draw, because he really is solid in the ring.
I mean, and just like, because he's a proven anti-draw in the main event doesn't mean that he can't still be a really good hand in the upper mid-card.
Exactly. Dude, if they keep Corbin in his lane, I get entertained by this shit, honestly. Yeah. Like, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I'm still gonna dunk on him and call him Adult Caillou and shit, but, like, that's part of the fun of having a heel, right? So, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I've found to me, at least, the best heels for me personally are the heels whose feelings I don't give a shit whether I hurt them or not.
I'm so proud of you. Yeah, that's perfection. That's perfection right there. And his theme is still fire. I don't like the kingly touch to it, but he still has one of the best themes in the
I know, dude, that king shit. Like, you're not king of the ring anymore. It's been well over a year since you won that title, and it's supposed to only last a year. Fuck off with the king shit and go back to just using the regular theme song that's supposed to already have been yours.
Yeah, I was listening to that. I got at least 2 full listens of that song in today, and I wanted more. I fucking love that theme.
Yeah.
I love that theme.
And the guy that sings it, apparently, like, I've actually, just because you know how I kind of am with my research holes that I go down, I always feel like he sounds like the lead singer of Five Finger Death Punch, Ivan Moody. And I did a little bit of research and I found the guy's name, and it turns out he actually filled for Ivan Moody at a Five Finger Death Punch concert in, I believe, Europe, where Moody had some kind of like throat or voice issue that he couldn't do the show.
Bro, your uncanny ability to identify people and like make those links. It's like your superpower.
We just did this last night. We were watching Cloak and Dagger and a song came on. I was like, is that Bishop Briggs? Who's an artist that I haven't listened to in years. And it was a song that I had maybe heard once or twice. And I Googled the lyrics that were being played in the show because I had captions on it. I could just copy the lyrics. And it was Bishop Briggs.
Bro, your iPod syndrome is worsening because now it's like developing.
Is it worsening or is it reaching another level?
I feel like, dude, your being is going to take on this ethereal character that just syncs up with every Spotify account on the planet. Like,
did I tell you that my Spotify account actually got hacked, or I guess
you did? You did.
Oh my god, that was so annoying. But anyway, let's get back on track.
But yeah, just you're transforming, and we need to pay attention to that. But yeah, beside that. So they might even tease Corbin versus Ray at TLC, or just like maybe on a future episode of Smackdown. I don't know, but I'm low-key kind of vibing with it, so we'll see. Sasha Carmella main event. Now, I already kind of prefaced at the beginning of the show that I like this main event and stuff, so I actually want to give the ball to you on this. What were your thoughts on the main event, man? Did you enjoy this?
I got to go back and look at this, but Foster said that apparently Steve Cutler was trying his best not to corpse the entire time that Corbin was kind of talking.
That's amazing. Yeah.
I really got to go back and see that. I don't like Steve Cutler, but anytime somebody's corpsing, and especially when it's fucking Corbin cutting a promo and someone just can't help but want to laugh, I need to see this. But anyway, what was the question that you asked me before?
No, I just, because I kind of jumped the gun at the very beginning of the show, because I already knew that opinions were going to be divided about not just Carmella, but about, like, the main event and everything, and I more or less went to bat for her. I do like the character for the most part. I understand the criticisms, and I do want to remain open to the criticisms. And I also like the main event tonight. I wanted to know how you felt about the main event, though. How did you feel about it?
It was fine. I didn't have any kind of a problem with the main event. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It was just there for me. I think it's one of those things where I'm at the point right now where I'm just kind of sitting back and waiting for Sasha to get put into a feud that I can really sink my teeth into, and this just is not that. So.
Dude, I even said on Twitter recently, if you really want to get Sasha back on track, for me,
Bianca.
you turn heel here, you turn Sasha heel, have Bianca win the Rumble, because I do think Bianca actually does work as a face. You do heel Sasha versus face Bianca at Mania. I think that's a worthwhile use of Sasha's time, personally, because she's already beaten Bayley, so we don't need to retread that.
Yeah.
Carmella.
I think I agree with you, actually, because I think that we both agree that heel Sasha is way better, at least on the mic, than face Sasha. And you combine that with like the version of face Bianca that we've been getting here on SmackDown with her, like, giving Bayley her receipts and everything. Like I've really enjoyed this iteration of Bianca. I think this is the best she's ever been, which isn't really even that much of a stretch considering how inexperienced she is. You would expect her to have like exponential growth over time. And yeah, I think that would be a great combination. I think that would be really good. I don't know if I would say that I would think Bianca would win the Rumble. I don't know if I would necessarily have a problem with that, but I don't think that that's the only way to get there either.
Then I would want her to dominate a SmackDown Women's Chamber. Just be a fucking... I mean, maybe not dominate to the extent that Shayna dominated hers to get to Becky, but, like, put on a fucking show. And here's the thing, too. I don't think this is canon usually, but Bianca and Sasha did recently just tag up for Tribute to the Troops. So, like, they've gotten those two together.
Yeah. I think that my biggest concern is that they're going to just keep slowly pushing Natalya, and eventually she's going to end up being Sasha's opponent.
Dude, when I tell you I would abhor that, not with just every part of my being, with every single cell of my being, I would reject that shit.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying it's like a very WWE call to me.
Oh, I know you're not disagreeing. I'm just making it clear, like, you're probably right, and I fucking hate it. Like, I viscerally reject it.
Yeah.
God, we really should maybe be selective about the matches we react to WrestleMania this year, and by react, I mean, like, matches we just play Rocket League, too, because if that was Sasha's match, I'm not, not feeling that. You could do, I would tolerate it.
I can hear the disdain in your voice.
Yeah, if you really want to get it out of the way, do it at Rumble, even do it at Fastlane. I really don't give a shit. You do not do that shit at Mania. You put Natalya in the Women's Battle Royal where she fucking belongs. Or in catering. I don't care.
Yeah, well, yeah, catering is even more appropriate than, I agree, than actually having her perform.
Yeah, so Bianca, babyface Bianca, heel Sasha, that's my dream WrestleMania scenario for both of those women. This match here, they tried to do some cool stuff. I like there was.
I was gonna say, can we really even call this like a full match? It felt very punctuated.
Oh yeah, well, because Sasha and I do like this here because commentary's made it a point, and again, I can't fault WWE when. Yeah, because here's the thing. I'll accept two things. I'll obviously accept the things that I want, because that's like the big thing. But if WWE is going to do what they want, I would at least ask that you do it well and you keep it consistent. I feel like they have here, because commentary's really made it a point to say, Carmella's really been getting under Sasha's skin. Carmella's really been irritating Sasha, this and that. And you could see it with how, like, the match, how Sasha was, like, very aggressive, especially towards the end.
Yeah.
They tried to do some good stuff. Like, there was one spot where Carmella tried to get a fully committed code of silence, but then Sasha slips out of it and she tries to get a bank statement. So, that was some good chain wrestling there. I kind of had to stifle back a laugh because I read Foster's, so I can smell the disgust in John's voice.
Yeah.
That's uncanny, Foster. So yeah, they tried to do some inspired stuff. Carmella working over the shoulder, I think, at parts, maybe to weaken the bank statement. So yeah, I mean, I liked it. Again, I think Carmella's solid. I think she's definitely safer than some people that get pushed to prominent positions. Naya.
Definitely.
I feel good about that. And I like here, again, because of the narrative of Carmella being the one that's getting to Sasha, I like that Sasha gets DQ'd here. And it does open the door. Am I a fan of the feud? Guys, when Bianca's right fucking there, no, obviously I wish Sasha
I think that's my thing, too, is like, this feud doesn't have to be perfect. As nice as it would be for Sasha to kind of run a gauntlet of the best performers, the best competitors, the best wrestlers that SmackDown has to offer, like run a fucking a train through Liv and Ruby and Bianca and all that stuff. I think this is passable. I think the story's being told fairly well, and it's just like a filler feud at the end of the day.
Yeah, and then I will say, like, the only thing that's a bit off for me with the Carmella character, just like, because, oh yeah, that's right, the sommelier, he comes out, and Sasha's got, like, of course, the bank statement. He pulls Sasha out. Sasha's like, are you kidding me? You're going to put your hands on me? Which, to be fair, Sasha, you assaulted him at the beginning of the night. So again, like I'm saying, like, keep it consistent. He runs back in the ring. Carmella tries capitalizing. Sasha reverses it on her. This is where she gets DQ'd.
Yeah.
And then I think she takes out the sommelier again.
Does anybody know who the sommelier is? Like, I'm sure he's an indie wrestler. I'm curious if anybody knows what the guy's name is.
I don't think we got a name from him. But if anybody does know his name, I'd be
like if someone recognized him from like an indie show or something like that.
Yeah, I don't. I'm wondering if anybody does. And Carmella she kicks Sasha twice. Once in the end, and like once in the face. And she's like, "You're crazy, Sasha. You've lost it." So it's like, but you pushed her there. Like what? And she's just like saying like, "Oh, you've lost it, Sasha. You're crazy." And then she continues to attack Sasha. I think she poured some champagne on her, and then she hits her in the back with a champagne bottle. And yeah, she did drink some too. That's a good point. She did drink some. So she's totally like she's a mix of like that
she's
that
like
bougie.
Oh yeah, you're right. Go ahead.
I was gonna say like bougie elitist mixed with like a suburban wine kind of woman.
A wine mom. That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say she's a wine mom. Exactly.
Yeah.
But it is champagne. That's more classy.
Yeah. She really does. Like, she's sipping that champagne. All I could imagine was she's so proud of herself that she voted Biden in the election. Like, that's all I could think of, honestly. Dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, God.
Wine is that drink that suburban moms drink to forget about their pothead sons, whereas champagne is that shit that rich people drink to remind themselves how much money they have.
Yeah, exactly. So that was interesting, and of course the announcement says, Carmella wins by disqualification, but still your women's champion, Sasha Banks. So we kind of go off of that. So now I'm thinking, well, they did sign those TLC contracts, so I guess they are good after all.
How convenient, yeah.
Like, God damn it, man.
Whatever opens the show next week would have been better off opening the show this week so that the contract signing could have happened next week.
Yes. So yeah, that was more or less SmackDown. Do you have anything you want to add to this?
Let's get into our next segment.
All right. High spots and low shots. I'm going to make it real simple. My low shot is Sasha Banks, kayfabe-wise.
Yeah.
She got herself DQ'd, so she keeps the contender in Carmella at the front of the queue, and she got laid out by her tonight. So Sasha Banks is my low shot.
At the front of the queue.
Yeah, yep. So who's your low shot?
I love the way that word is spelled. My low shot is going to be Montez Ford.
Makes sense. Got pinned by Ziggler tonight. Now they got to deal with Rudolph next week for the tag titles.
It's kind of the exact same situation where it's like you had an opportunity to send a potential challenger to the back of the line and you failed.
Exactly. I totally get that. You know what? I'm going to say my high spot is Sami Zayn. Because
interesting.
I'm sure they're going to.
I get that he won, but it surprises me a little bit still.
Yeah, like, because here's my thing. In a way, it's more how wrestling should work to me, because Sami won, and you would think by him winning, he sends Big E, like, further down the pecking order for a title shot. They'll probably still find a way to get to Big E, Sami Zayn at TLC, but this dude continues to be an intelligent champion that wins with the path of least resistance, like, fucking I'll get count out, whatever requires the least amount of exertion, if I could speak, possible from me. That's how I'm going to do. He's been getting count-out wins. He's been getting all sorts of, crazy wins. He's pretty much the closest thing WWE has to a Yano, but just in a different packaging and a different presentation. Had great promos tonight. He's still believable to me. He's still entertaining as hell to me. And so, yeah, Sami for my high spot. Who's your high spot?
I'm a little surprised that you didn't name this person as your high spot, so I'm just going to name my honorary high spot Kevin Owens, because, obviously, he didn't have the best night because he did get attacked, but I still think that his promo was so fiery and amazing that it was worth an honorable mention.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
My actual high spot, though, is going to go. Let me find it. Where was it? I had a high spot planned. Are you fucking kidding me? I forgot it. Hang on. I'm finding it. Oh, Bianca! Bianca was my high spot because she, I think that this was like the best sort of promo segment that I think I've ever seen her in.
Yeah, I would agree. Bianca's been so good, and this segment was definitely great. It made me smile, and yeah, I enjoyed it. I really can't wait for Bianca versus Bayley next week.
Yeah. I'm really like I'm just looking forward to like the future and see what the future holds for Bianca in general. Just because like I feel like she's shown a lot of progress since coming up to the main roster, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. All right, guys. With that said, this has been Friday Night Smackdown. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my co-written commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to like the video as you file out. The more likes you leave, the more likely we are to be the top search result for Friday Night Smackdown reviews on YouTube. And when you're the best at what you do, the top is the only place that you belong. So please leave that like. Be sure to subscribe, click the bell icon for notifications so you never again miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. Comment down below when this video is done processing. Who do you want to challenge for the Universal title next, assuming that Roman Reigns does retain, which we'll be doing our preview predictions for TLC next Saturday, at Royal Rumble? Who do you want Sasha's next feud to be if she gets past Carmella, which we always got to be worried with Sasha Banks' title reigns? How long are they going to last, really? And just what are your overall thoughts about SmackDown right now? What's your favorite storyline going? How are you feeling about stuff? Talk to us. Be sure to check out everything we're involved in the description box below. Follow us both on Twitter. You'll want to follow Ashton on Twitter because his pinned tweet is the TWitWoW schedule, which is usually set up pretty early in the month, so you know everything that we're doing specifically for the month of December this month. And whenever anything gets added, redacted, times change, whatever, Ashton's always very good about staying on top of it, and you'll want to stay on top of it too. So be sure to follow him on Twitter to keep up with the TWitWoW schedule. My pinned tweet is the to receive Q&A questions, which to tie it to the Patreon very quickly, if you donate $1, you get up to 5 Q&A questions for that particular month. So those that donated $1 in November going into December, you would be getting 5 Q&A questions for December Q&A. Non-Patreon donors only get 3 Q&A questions. My pinned tweet is to receive those questions. You can also submit them through YouTube, Facebook, and Discord. Discord access is $3 a month per the Patreon. And Q&A is December 31st, as is TWitWoW Year-End Awards. So I want to specify Q&A this month is at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. You know, I know we got people like Foster and stuff who like to submit their questions in very late, like to be the last question. If you still want to do that, bro, you're going to have to submit them just quite a bit earlier because we're going live at 4, not 7, because 7 is TWitWoW Year-End Awards for December 31st. So I just really want to emphasize that. This way nobody comes to me and be like, I thought you Q&A was at 7. Not this time. We're doing a real big doubleheader on the 31st, so get ready for it. So, yeah, send your Q&A questions in. I can't think of anything else to promote, so most immediately, guys, I just want to let you know to round out the week, tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, we are live reacting to New Japan Pro Wrestling Super J-Cup. It's 10 p.m. Eastern Time because they're actually holding it in the U.S., so we go by Eastern Standard Time. So 10 p.m. for us, anybody that lives in a different time zone, you can do the necessary conversions. We are going to be live reacting to New Japan. So I hope it goes well. You know, just from a technical standpoint, I hope it's a fun show on New Japan's side. I just want good things for everybody. So that's the rest of the week for that week. And then next week, we are covering both Raw and SmackDown next week. NXT, of course, we're doing a review of that. And any Stardom shows that happen to get uploaded, you guys know we're always on top of Stardom. And then, of course, next week is unique, too, because, again, we have TLC, both preview and predictions, and live reactions. So next week's going to be pretty stacked, actually. So, yeah, guys, that's it for the rest of this week. And next week, be sure to be good to yourselves and each other. Show yourselves a lot of love. I know a lot of things are happening in the world right now. Seemingly some good. We're kind of turning a corner as far as COVID and stuff goes. Doesn't mean we can let our guard up. Keep being safe out there. You know, keep protecting yourselves and your loved ones and just the people around you. And thank you always for inviting us in your computer screens and making your day a little bit better. I hope we did that. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night for Super J Cup. Should be some fun, flippy shit. So until then, guys, tune in. Peace out.